They drilled through 3 meters of reinforced concrete, bypassed state-of-the-art security systems, and vanished without setting off a single alarm, all while stealing over 3 tons of silver. This wasn't just any ordinary heist. It was a meticulously planned operation, part engineering marvel, part criminal masterclass, and it happened in one of the most secure vaults in Europe. No guards were hurt, no alarms went off, but when they opened the vault the next morning, millions of dollars worth of silver was gone. The theft took place in April 2015 at a high-security precious metals storage facility in London, UK. Over 3 tons of silver bullion, valued at around $7 million at the time, disappeared without a trace. The perpetrators, a highly organized international gang with technical expertise, construction knowledge, and inside information. In this video, we'll break down exactly how this group pulled off one of the most sophisticated thefts in modern history. We'll walk through their months of preparation, the shocking tunnel they built, and how they managed to vanish without a trace. Because sometimes the line between genius and crime is thinner than you think. The vault was located inside a high-security storage facility in the heart of London, a place designed to protect some of the most valuable assets in the financial world. Rows of thick concrete walls, biometric scanners, motion detectors, and 24/7 surveillance made it nearly impenetrable. The facility stored millions worth of gold and silver bullion owned by investors, banks, and private collectors. On paper, it was one of the safest places to store precious metals in Europe. The vault was buried deep beneath the building, accessible only through a single, heavily monitored entrance. Security personnel were trained to detect any suspicious behavior, and every movement inside the facility was logged and reviewed. But what the owners didn't know was that someone had been watching them for months. The thieves didn't come from the outside like traditional bank robbers. They didn't storm in with masks and guns. Instead, they built their plan from the ground up, literally. Weeks before the heist, a small company nobody had heard of rented an office just a few doors down from the vault. The business appeared legitimate, something related to construction and infrastructure. Employees came and went normally. No one raised suspicion. In reality, this office was the command center for the operation. It gave the gang direct access to the underground space near the vault's perimeter. From there, they began preparing for what would become one of the most daring tunneling operations ever attempted in modern crime. The group consisted of highly skilled individuals, former engineers, construction workers, and hackers, each playing a critical role. Some specialized in bypassing security systems, others in digging and structural analysis. Together, they formed a team capable of pulling off what many thought impossible. Their goal was simple: get into the vault undetected, steal as much silver as possible, and disappear before anyone even realized what had happened. What followed was a carefully orchestrated sequence of planning, deception, and execution, all leading up to the night of the heist. The planning phase of the heist lasted several months and involved an extraordinary level of detail. Every second, every movement, and every possible risk was calculated and rehearsed. This wasn't a crime of opportunity. It was a full-scale operation that required precision, patience, and technical expertise. First, the gang conducted extensive surveillance on the facility. They studied security camera angles, guard shift changes, cleaning schedules, and even the sound levels inside the building at different times of the day. Using this data, they identified blind spots in both technology and human behavior, moments when they could move without being seen or heard. To gain access to the underground area near the vault, the group set up a fake construction company and leased an office space close to the target location. Officially, the company specialized in infrastructure development, which gave them a legitimate reason to request permits for underground work. In reality, this was all part of their cover story. Inside the rented office, the team began assembling custom digging equipment designed to operate quietly and efficiently. They built a reinforced tunneling structure that would allow them to dig horizontally toward the vault without causing structural damage or raising suspicion above ground. The machinery was modified to reduce vibrations and noise, crucial for avoiding detection by nearby residents or security personnel. To simulate conditions underground, the thieves even constructed a mock vault in a hidden warehouse. There, they practiced drilling through layers of concrete, timing their movements, and handling large quantities of silver bars under pressure. Every team member knew their exact role on the night of the heist. The final step in preparation was logistics. The gang arranged for a fleet of unmarked trucks to transport the stolen silver. These vehicles were registered under shell companies and modified to carry heavy loads without drawing attention. They also set up a complex money laundering system to sell the stolen metal on the black market after the job was done. By the time everything was in place, the plan was nearly flawless. All that remained was to execute it. Under the cover of darkness, the operation began. Over the course of several nights, the gang quietly accessed the underground tunnel from their rented office. The path they had dug stretched beneath the city streets and led directly to the vault's outer wall, a wall made of over 3 meters of reinforced concrete. Using specialized diamond-tipped drills and noise-reducing equipment, the thieves carefully carved an entry point into the vault. They worked in shifts, taking extreme care not to damage any internal sensors or trigger movement detectors inside the facility. The drilling process took nearly 48 hours, but thanks to their earlier simulations, the team knew exactly how to avoid detection. Once inside, they were met with rows of silver bullion stacked neatly on metal shelves. The air was cold, the silence complete. With headlamps and gloves, they began loading the bars into custom-built carrying cases designed to minimize noise and maximize efficiency. Each case held a pre-calculated weight, allowing them to move large quantities quickly and safely. The entire heist inside the vault lasted less than 2 hours. Not a single alarm was triggered. No cameras captured their faces. They had timed their movements perfectly between scan intervals and even rerouted some surveillance feeds using previously hacked systems. The stolen silver was carried back through the tunnel and loaded into waiting trucks parked discreetly behind the office building. From there, the cargo was transferred to multiple locations across the city to avoid tracking. Within 24 hours, all evidence of the theft had been removed, including the tunnel entrance, which was sealed and disguised to look untouched. When security personnel arrived the next morning, everything seemed normal. It wasn't until a scheduled inventory check that the scale of the theft became clear. Over 3 tons of silver, worth millions, had vanished without a trace. Surveillance footage showed nothing unusual. There were no signs of forced entry. At first, officials thought it was a mistake, perhaps a record-keeping error, but as the investigation unfolded, one terrifying truth became clear. This was not just a robbery, it was a near-perfect crime, and whoever pulled it off had done their homework better than anyone could have imagined. The theft wasn't discovered immediately. For nearly 48 hours, the facility operated as usual. Employees came and went, security guards made their rounds, and no alarms had been triggered. It wasn't until a scheduled inventory check that the massive loss of silver was uncovered. When the vault was opened for inspection, the shock was immediate. Rows of silver bars were gone, not stolen in chaos but removed with surgical precision. The shelves looked undisturbed, suggesting the thieves knew exactly what they were doing. No broken locks, no shattered glass, no signs of panic, just an empty space where millions of dollars worth of silver used to be. Security teams scrambled to review surveillance footage but found nothing unusual. All cameras appeared to function normally during the suspected time frame. There were no records of unauthorized access or movement inside the vault. At first, investigators suspected internal sabotage or a system failure, but then, small inconsistencies began to surface. A routine maintenance log showed that one of the building's ventilation systems had been accessed days before the theft under false authorization. Further analysis revealed that someone had tampered with the surveillance network, rerouting camera feeds and looping old footage to hide real-time activity. This level of technical manipulation suggested professional involvement. Meanwhile, police started tracing suspicious activity near the rented office next door. Neighbors reported hearing low humming noises late at night, which they assumed were from construction work. Investigators later confirmed it was the sound of underground drilling equipment. As the investigation deepened, forensic experts discovered traces of soil and chemical residue consistent with tunneling operations. The breakthrough confirmed the unthinkable. The thieves hadn't broken into the vault. They had dug their way in from another building. Despite the evidence, the gang had covered their tracks well. Most of the stolen silver had already disappeared into the black market through a complex web of shell companies and international buyers. Authorities arrested a few low-level suspects, but the masterminds behind the heist were nowhere to be found. To this day, only a fraction of the stolen silver has been recovered, and while investigators have pieced together how the crime was committed, the full identities of those responsible remain a mystery.